this lesson, I'll show you how you can quickly add API throttling. Now, throttling simply refers to limiting the number of API calls per IP address that can occur against your API. So there might be situations where you want to actually only allow a certain IP address to issue, let's say, one API call per second. So that's the scenario I'm going to show you here. And the way we can go ahead and do that is we can open up our trusted setup controller and write another server.use, and we can use this built-in restify.throttle, which takes a few configuration settings. One is going to be the rate. So we'll say that we're only going to allow one API call per second. The other is going to be the burst. So in case you wanted to allow, let's say, 2 API calls per second, when sometimes volume might spike above the average of 1 per second, you can set a different burst amount. And last but not least, I'll say XFF true, which means that it's going to look at the X forwarded for, which we've saw an example of up here, our IP address. And it's saying that for this particular, or for any particular X forwarded for IP address, set these particular limits. Okay, let's test it out in Postman. And you can see I've already been doing a little bit of that myself, but if I issue a standard get to the root, you'll see that we get our traditional success message. But if I start going a little bit crazier, you've exceeded your request rate of 1 request per second. So this is a very basic example of how you can implement API throttling. You'll see we even get this status of 429 too many requests here. And the Restify website has more examples of different arguments you can pass in order to accomplish different things. So for example, you can set a different throttling rate for different IP addresses, which is kind of neat as well. So I encourage you to go and take a look at the Restify website, but for the purposes of our lesson, this is how you can implement some basic API throttling. Okay, that's it for this lesson.